Hey guys, it's Michelle, the founder of Women Who Wow, the premier coaching and mentoring platform for the seriously driven woman entrepreneur. If that is you, please email me, m.me/women who wow, and let me know who you are and what your business is about, because we have got to talk about you becoming a member of Women Who Wow. But today is the Women Entrepreneur Success Show, and we're going to talk about the sneaky ways that women entrepreneurs hold themselves back without even realizing it, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, I want to highlight a woman entrepreneur who is really making waves in her industry. That entrepreneur is Lindsay Satterfield at lindsaysatterfield.com. Hey, Stella, so glad to see you. I was thinking about you the other day. Lindsay Satterfield also owns the Facebook group Productivity Power. She is a genius in the way that she parlays personal productivity into power in your life, your brand, your business, and or your career. There's this link that she's passionate about between productivity and empowerment. And if you do not know Lindsay Satterfield, you've got to go message her and get to know her on Facebook. She is very quiet, but a very, very powerful influencer in her world. So she's absolutely incredible, and I'm grateful that she's one of our own. So thank you, Lindsay Satterfield, for all you're doing in your world, but also all you're doing in the women entrepreneur world and in the world of Women Who Wow. Now, I want to get to the topic of our Women Entrepreneur Success Show today. This is going to be one of those videos that you love to hate, that people might need to hear, but they don't really love to hear, right? It's like spinach maybe for your business, right? So really good for you, but doesn't maybe taste all that great, although I actually like spinach. But here are the sneaky ways that women entrepreneurs hold themselves back. So the first way is we allow our emotions to run amok, right? Running amok, allowing your emotions to run amok means that you allow your emotions to be in charge, right? So when you have your goal, you know what you're doing, and you somehow can easily and routinely complete this sentence. When I feel blank, comma, I don't blank, period, right? That is when you're allowing your emotions to run amok, as if like, I can't write. When I feel disappointed, I can't write. Well, when I feel anxious, I can't live stream. When I'm overwhelmed, I can't blog, right? Now, here's the deal. We never felt this way as employees, right? We never felt this way as employees. And if we did, we didn't dare say it, right? We just showed up. With rare exception, as an employee, you show up and you do your job, right? Even when you've had a fight with your boyfriend, even when someone's hurt your feelings, even when you're feeling blah, even when you're nervous about money, even when you feel uninspired, right? When you're an employee, you somehow just have this commitment, like a grown-up commitment or something, of showing up and doing the work that you know that you're supposed to do. But somehow when we become entrepreneurs, when we become the boss, we like abdicate the throne of our business. We're so excited to be the boss, and then we immediately give up the role of being in charge, right? And we abdicate our throne to whatever emotion is running amok in our business that day, right? I actually did some butt kicking with members around this lately in the Women Who Wow group. If you have not listened to this week's Weekly Hustle Challenge, and this is like the week of November 25th, if you're watching this another time, but it's an audio weekly hustle challenge, and it's called Reason Enough. But I challenged our Women Who Wow members to identify and then dramatically shorten their own list of things that they consider to be reason enough to keep them from fully showing up for their goals and for their business, right? So the first way, sneaky way, that women entrepreneurs hold themselves back is we allow our emotions to run amok. A lot of times we make excuses for this, right? We're not stalling or procrastinating out of fear or anxiety. We're preparing, right? Or we are not, we're not moving forward. It just doesn't feel aligned. Well, a lot of times going to the gym doesn't feel aligned either, but you do it because you know that's what you need to do. And so, you know when you're bullcrapping yourself, right? You know when you are trying to make an evolved reason. I think I just wrote about this also recently, but when you have an evolved excuse, stop making the excuses. The truth is, you get to have excuses or results. You can't have both, but you do get to choose. So one sneaky way that women entrepreneurs hold themselves back is allowing emotions to run amok. There's one emotion that I want to talk with you guys about right now, and that is jealousy. I've seen it over and over and over again. And I am so honored that women are willing and able to share this with me, to really share how jealousy or envy is showing up in their business. But jealousy is where it's like, she's doing this and it makes me sad, or she's experiencing success and it makes me feel bad about myself, right? In full disclosure, I am heading to Tennessee in a couple weeks, or next week maybe, I can't remember, but I'm going there and I'm going to be a small fry, a small fish in a room of really big fish. And I'm going to feel like the small fish in a room of big fish. I'm going to know that I am possibly the least accomplished in tangible ways of the people in the room. But I'm deliberately going because honestly, I rarely struggle with jealousy in my life. You know, the truth is, when I see women or men doing what I really want to do, like, I'm inspired by that. My default, my conditioned default way of thinking, when I see someone experiencing a level of success that I want to experience, my conditioned default thought is, if they can, then I can, right? That is exactly, that's my conditioned default, right? It's like, when I see that, I immediately skip over any feelings of like, why are they getting that? Why did they get that big break? Why is this not happening for me? Like, I just skip that entirely and go directly to the people who are, being an inspiration to me, right? So if they can do it, then I can definitely do it. So I use that as inspiration. So if jealousy is whipping your butt, right? Like, consider having a default switch when you start to feel like, oh my God, like this means I'm not doing enough, or why is that happening for her and not me? Then really condition, say, you know what? If she can do it, I can do it, right? Use that to inspire yourself. By the way, this is why successful people hang around people who are successful, and unsuccessful people are insecure and they don't want to hang around people who are successful because they don't want to be reminded about what they're not doing or what they're not experiencing. And so to be more successful, continue to put yourself in circles where you are the least successful person in the room. We were just talking about this, by the way, on the Hot Seat Mastermind for Women Who Wow members. And so it is something that we need to train ourselves to do. It's not an entirely comfortable place to be, but successful people are inspired by other successful people. Unsuccessful people are triggered by their success, right? And so you really want to create a conditioned default of, if they can do it, I can do it. Or let me see if you are, just really quick, and this is kind of one of those moments where you'll maybe love to hate me or hate to love me. I'm not sure how it goes. But when you are seeing someone who is experiencing success that you're not experiencing or not yet experiencing, I really encourage you to look at where your behavior is congruent with theirs and where your behavior is not congruent with theirs, right? We can always track success back to specific behaviors, habits, and, consistency in showing up, right? And that's like at the gym, at the bank, in marriage, like whatever, right? And so you are going to get out of life what you put into it. And I see a lot of people, if they're triggered by jealousy and other people's success begins to trigger them and stall them or whatever, here's what I see. I see that they're looking at the results, but not the behavior, right? They want the results, congruency. They are unwilling to be congruent behaviorally, right? So if you want what they have, then do what they're doing, right? So anyway, so enough about the jealousy as one emotion. By the way, if you guys have an emotion that you want me to talk about in this video, certainly put it into the comments. I am reading your comments and I will respond to them as soon as this recording is over. But if you have something you want me to talk about, please type it in there. So another way that women entrepreneurs, another sneaky way that they hold themselves back, that we hold ourselves back, is what I call white knight syndrome, right? It's this thinking that there's something or someone outside of yourself that is necessary for you to succeed. Now, sometimes it does kind of show up in ways of wanting a man to kind of take care of you, or feeling like you need a man to be financially secure or something like that. But most often the way this shows up with women entrepreneurs is when women entrepreneurs are waiting for this famous person or that influencer to kind of knight them or deem them as worthy to follow or something like that, right? It's like where you say, I need her to mention something about me in her group, or I need her to have me on her show, or I need her to have me on her stage. And listen, I have been specifically and enthusiastically endorsed and featured by big names. I'm talking like people who are on TV every single week. I'm talking New York Times bestselling authors several times over. And I'm not saying I was just mentioned by them or friended by them on Facebook. I am talking they have championed my business savvy. And it was fun and it was cool and I loved it. It like totally patted my ego. But in terms of my bank account, the biggest sources of traffic and referrals are the still unknown members who have experienced me and they have influence amongst their own circle of friends. And so I don't want you, if you feel like you're waiting to be knighted by one, oh, and look who just showed up, Lindsay Satterfield. So Lindsay, you're going to want to watch the beginning of this video. So glad you're here. And Debbie from Canada, Lindsay from Maryland, Kathy from Virginia, Stella, I believe from Texas, Brenda from Virginia. Anyway, glad to have you guys here. So those are two of the really sneaky ways that women entrepreneurs hold themselves back, right? So if you are really thinking like, I need to be endorsed or championed, I need this person to recognize me or talk about me or whatever, then you're really starting to work against yourself, because you're starting to separate what you need to succeed. And now all of a sudden you're not in control of it anymore, right? And I always want to keep the ball in my court, even going back to like why I don't use business cards, right? Like, one, I'm really not anywhere to give business cards out, but even when I was like, I don't want to give them my business card and like wait to be called. No. I'm going to have their business card because I want the ball in my court so that I can go and I can, talk with them or offer to serve them or whatever. I don't want to be in the waiting game. So whenever you have that white knight syndrome where you're thinking, I need this to happen, or this person to throw me a bone or whatever, or this person to talk about me in their Facebook group, like, really remember, your success is up to you. You will never look back on your success journey and say, you know what, it all hinged on this one little whatever from some big name, whoever. It's not. Your success is going to be attributed to, like everybody else's success that is the sustainable success. Your success and mine are going to be attributed to series of actions that we habitually and consistently do every single day. Your success and mine is going to be attributed to us fully backing ourselves, us showing up in a full and complete way, us not kind of shaving off our rough edges. That is what our success is going to be built on, right? When you are showing up authentically, consistently, the way I beg you guys to show up every week, when you're doing that, you become, you start showing up in a category of one, right? Like, I was reading an article about Amazon, and I love Amazon. I use Amazon, but Amazon has really taken advantage of the fact that there's a lot of lazy marketers out there, right? Like, because the truth is, people will buy the cheapest and most convenient price, but usually only when they have no other facts to consider, right? And so when you're showing up authentically and consistently, you will not be commoditized. And so you will not have to be fighting for the bottom of the barrel people who are only looking for the cheap and the convenient, right? So anyway, so that's that. Another sneaky way that women entrepreneurs hold themselves back is when we have a fear that we're unwilling to look in the eye. Right? The truth is, when you're a kid and you might think there's a monster under the bed or something, a funny thing happens when the lights turn on. Your monsters disappear, right? Because you shine light on it, and all of a sudden they are no longer as scary. They're no longer real, that kind of thing, right? And so one sneaky way that women entrepreneurs hold themselves back is we don't really lean into the fears that we have. this is something that if I had to point to one thing that I deeply regret, and I don't really deal in regret, but one thing that I do regret is I really stayed kind of stuck and small because I was afraid of success. And I never leaned into that fear to really get to know it, to really shine light on it, to really show how silly it was, right? And never shine the light on it. And so many women entrepreneurs are in the same boat. They have fear maybe of failure, fear of looking stupid, fear of failing publicly, fear of success being more than they bargained for. That was my big one. And so that's a sneaky way we hold ourselves back. We maybe we'll repeat a mantra here and there, but we never lean into the fear, look it in the eye, challenge it, right? And I had to do this with my own business. I really had to challenge my own fear. Debbie says, I heard you once say that I will not be commoditized. You mean that it won't be price that determines the sale? Absolutely. I don't just mean price though. When I say that you don't want to be commoditized, right? It is not just about price, although that's one part of it. When you're when you are a commodity, the buyer has all the power, right? The buyer says who, they say when, they start dictating terms, right? And so when you're a commodity, the truth is they can take or leave you because you need them more than they need you because they can get what you sell anywhere else, right? And so that's what I mean by a commodity. It's not just price. It's other kinds of freedoms and elasticities, right? It's about setting your own hours. It's about setting your own fees. It's about not having to compete with people who are like giving bare bottom, basement prices. It's about not having to, work on Saturdays if you don't want to work on Saturdays. I'll never forget the time, and I do forget the name of the person, and I hate that, but I'll never forget the time I met a real estate agent who basically refused to work nights or weekends. And I was thinking, like, how does that work, right? And a mortgage lender too, they work together. And how does that work? Well, the mortgage lender said, listen, I'm the doctor of your finances, and few things affect your finances more than your mortgage. And so if you want to meet with me, the mortgage doctor, then you'll set an appointment, you'll take off of work, and you'll show up at my office, right? The same way you would a chiropractor or a dentist or whatever. The real estate agent, though, was really fun because that person actually decided, you know what, like, I'm not going to do open houses. I'm not going to give up my weekends with my families. And so she decided to only sell churches. And so she was, and another option might be only selling business, commercial property, but she only sold churches, and that allowed her, she was not to be commoditized. She was the expert at what she did. And so she could set her own rules, right? So really the commoditization is more about being able to choose the rules of your business. If you're a commodity, you can't really do that. You've got to play by their rules. I hope that makes sense, Debbie. If you could give me a quick comment and let me know if I answered your question or if you need me to go into it in a little bit more detail. So anyway, so I'm excited to have you guys here. This is only the third episode of the Women Entrepreneurs Success Show. I think it's gotten better and better week to week. I'm excited by what is coming up for us. We've got an amazing December coming up on the Women Entrepreneurs Success Show. But before I go, I do want to give you the offer of the week, right? Unfortunately, you guys have already missed out on the Black Friday through Cyber Monday sales. There are people here watching now who could have gotten the exact programs they need at 50% to 75% off. And so I really hate that you missed out. I've never done a Black Friday sale that I can remember, but I'll do it again next year. But the offer of the week this week is Women Who Wow membership. I want you, if you're watching, and your friends to join Women Who Wow. I am going to be shifting Women Who Wow in 2019. And the only way to keep it where it includes one-on-one time with me, the only way to keep it where it is something that includes the private stuff, the e-coaching and things like that, is to join and be a grandmothered in by the end of 2019 and 2018. And I would love to talk with you about membership. So if you are a seriously driven woman entrepreneur, I'd love for you to reach out to me, m.me/Women Who Wow. The offer of the week is Women Who Wow membership. And I really want you to reach out to me if you're not a member. All right, guys, I think that this is it. I do want to end with a 10-second challenge. It's something that I adopted So many years ago, I don't even remember when, it might not have been that many years ago, maybe 2 or 3, but it's a 10-second challenge, right? Whenever I start to think something negative, right? Like that's probably not going to come through or, whatever, anything like that. I think immediately, I've trained myself to ask the question, is this what I want to create, right? So this is something that I do in business, in finances, in my marriage, with family members. Like when I have this like a negative thought, then I will say, is this what I want to create? Because I do believe our thoughts are so incredibly powerful. I do believe that we see what we think about. Some of it is a vision issue, right? Where you're not seeing the good stuff. You're training yourself to see the bad stuff, almost like a Yahoo or Google will curate your news feed, right? It shows you what you click on. And I don't want to be the person who clicks on and grabs hold of like negative thoughts and negative patterns of thinking and all of that. So my 10-second little challenge to you is begin to create a habit of when you have a negative thought, well, that's probably going to happen or that's probably not going to happen, immediately say, almost like you have a rubber band on your wrist, immediately say, is that what I want to create? And then I replace it. I have an affirmation. My affirmation is I am wealthy and in high demand, right? And I also have a very specific visual of me at a very specific event in a very specific situation, which I'm not going to bother you guys with now. But the point is that I have a visual of myself, right? So I think something negative and I say, oh, is that what I want to create? And then I immediately say the little affirmation, I am wealthy and in high demand. And I see this visual of myself and manifesting what I really want. And so that is a 10-second challenge that has really served me well. Business is not for the faint of heart. Being an entrepreneur is definitely not for the faint of heart. It is a crash course in self-development. And so to the extent that you're willing to build yourself and your own mental toughness and your own confidence and your own tenacity, that will be the extent to which you succeed and in business. So I really appreciate you guys being here. And if you have any questions for me, definitely message me, m.me/womenwhowwow. And if you know of friends who should watch this episode, third episode of the Women Entrepreneur Success Show, certainly send them this link and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.